what is your advice to brands? Should they be preparing for the Olympics coming up?
There are some brands that are starting to play on the edges, and they're looking at athletes right now, trying to work out how they own that stadium. We're almost back in those conversations that I thought went away a really long time ago. We all know lower funnel has a place, a complete place to play, but people have to know who you are.
Any TV is not dead. I mean, we have an example of a client. They turned off everything.
Set Meta, every store was under, everything was down. I said, well, do you want to know why? One of the biggest assets that you guys have at Nine is the talent pool that you have there, right? Do you have any stories of when it's gone wrong? Rebecca Lawrie, welcome to That Fucking Marketing Podcast. So you're now the Director of Sales at Channel 9, but have worked with Bauer Media and Network 10 before. And as an agency, we see most people when they come to us spending their entire budget on two platforms, Meta and Google. So I want to have you on today to talk about the wider media sphere. And they always come to us and they want to understand how they can get on these bigger channels. So at Nine, you sell TV, streaming, radio, podcast, publishing, soon to be outdoor. So let's hear a little bit around some of the strategies that go along with some of the other channels.
God, that was exhausting listening to all the platforms that we have in our house. It's pretty exciting. There's a huge amount scale that sits there. We have a wonderful team that sits there and services our entire market, and you're one of our clients, and we love dealing with you and your team. Oh God, I don't even know where to start. So I am a traditional TV gal. That's where I started my career in media. And then slowly we have added on to that, which is really exciting because you get to learn very quickly. It's sink or swim on all different platforms, and also how they work together. Because I think that's the power of it, is how does that ecosystem come together and what does that mean for a client? That's the real power of what we do, and the exciting thing that makes me bounce out of bed every single morning and want to work with brands.
Not just selling spots and dots anymore.
No. Listen, there's still lots of spots and dots being sold though. Yeah, that still happens.
I think one of the things that we see as an agency, people come to us and as I said, they want to go cross-platform, but it sounds really complicated. They don't even know where to start, right? So what would be the first thing you'd say to a brand or a marketing manager that's never really spent a dollar outside of the performance channels?
You know what? Just ask us in.
Yeah.
Literally ask us
Give
in.
it a chance.
Just give us a chance. Like, bring us in to your world. Tell us what you're trying to achieve. What are your challenges? Where do you want to take your brand? What do you like doing? What don't you like doing? What makes you curious? What have you seen other brands do? Be open to it. We're the type of publisher and business that we don't just think about one platform. We can think about one platform, but if you give us a seat at the table, the doors that open, and the opportunities become endless with that. But it just starts with a conversation. It's so simple.
So like to any of our listeners right now, it's like, just ask, right? You don't get until you ask.
Exactly. Like, we don't know. We're not mind readers. We can come up with 1,000 concepts and ideas for brands, but it's like throwing paper at a wall. And until we actually start getting some feedback and create a conversation, and it's really important. And you as an agency, and I know this because we've dealt with you for so long, is you're really open to a client being in the same room with you when you are briefing, or you're having a conversation, or just meeting in an environment to say, hey, meet such and such.
You're as the experts in your field, right? So we want to make sure we bring you in.
Yeah. It's really important.
Super important to have those type of partnerships. And Beck, what channels are you seeing most marketers that are focusing on right now?
I think definitely performance channels. Taylor and I were talking about this before, was there has been definitely a shift into that lower funnel.
Yeah.
I understand why. We all do. Like, there are
Times are tough.
Times are tough. There's business constraints. From a CMO point of view, they're having to fight for every dollar that they have in their pool to play with. It looks like a cost to the business versus an investment when they look at that line. A CFO or a CEO looks at the line that sits there. But we all know lower funnel has a place, a complete place to play. But people have to know who you are.
Correct.
It's a finite place, right?
They've got to find that place. And it kind of goes back like, oh, probably 10 years, whereas that last click attribution
Yes.
almost back in those conversations that I thought went away a really long time ago.
No, they're still there.
They're still there.
I think
Yeah.
our team have that conversation quite often, right? Like
Yeah.
speaking to CFOs, and they would go, "Oh, put more money into Google because that's where we're getting the leads from." It's like, no,
No.
that person actually saw this a BVOD campaign before they actually came through to Google.
That's exactly right.
Mm.
And it's really important to know that everything plays a role. It's not one versus the other. There's not one that works 10,000 times better or that you should invest all your money into. It is a full channel approach.
Yep.
Correct.
Fortunately for us, having a very strong TV asset, we know that helps build brand. We know it gives a halo effect on all your other channels like search. You only have to look at the studies in like the Think TV's research.
Yep.
That will tell you TV drives ROI on your other channels.
I mean, we have an example of a client who turned off TV.
Turn off everything
What
They
happened?
turned off everything up like
except Meta.
except Meta.
And this was the direction from the new CMO that was a week in, and the CEO decided to go overseas and said, follow her direction. And I was like, okay, like I gave him a call and I said, things are falling off a cliff. You realize what she's doing over here? Follow her direction. Then he called me from his America trip where I think he was on holidays. Every store was under, everything was down. I said, well, do you want to know why? She's literally reduced our budget from this to this, gone from 8 channels down to one, and you're expecting the same results. I think we managed to turn everything back around within 3 days, getting everything back on air. So I can imagine that was
Just
some fun.
thankful to partners like yourself who just turn stuff around for us. But I think it also highlighted to our team, right? Because we've got, when you're bringing junior people through, who haven't kind of gone through, what yourself and Taylor have over your careers, they look at Meta and Google and TikTok as all, the fun channels, but seeing that you turning like linear TV off and the impact it had on someone's campaign just kind of just reassured the entire agency that linear TV is not dead.
Yeah.
People keep saying that, but it's clearly not, right? It's a proof in the pudding.
And it is. And it's so interesting because there is so much bias with buying as well.
Correct.
So there's a big piece that needs to be done with our next generation that are coming through in all of our businesses to understand that TV still plays a really fundamental role. Just because they don't consume it the same way that probably I do. I'm going to say I'm much older than you guys. So it doesn't mean that people are not watching
Correct.
or that it isn't driving the results that it needs to. And listen, I'm a massive TikTok fiend. Like I'm on there for 3 hours a night. But I'm also starting to get to the point with even platforms like that where I'm like, what's true, what's not, what's an ad,
Correct.
what's not an ad.
I mean, there's so much UGC at the moment that it's confusing to most consumers, but like it's working, right?
Yep.
You're probably looking at going, oh, that's actually really cool. Hold on, is this an ad?
That's exactly right. But flip it the other way. If you're sitting there and you're watching, we talked about sport before, you're watching the Broncos play, obviously a Queenslander, I've got to say that. You're completely lent in. And if you're getting served an ad in that moment of a brand that you might not have been aware of or an offer, you're going to take that opportunity to be like, who is that? I need to know more about it. So, yeah.
Let's talk about sport for a second. I know it's a massive one from your network, but just, from your career as well, right? Looking at sport in general, it is such a key Australian pastime and so ingrained in our culture. If brands are looking into sport, what would be the recommendation from your side?
I would definitely say sport is where you're going to reach a mass audience really quickly, that you're going to have a very lent in and engaged audience in a low cluttered environment. Like there is less ad load within an NRL game than there is in an hour of maths.
Correct.
So don't shy away from what a client may think is premium or that it's out of reach. You don't have to buy it just on linear TV.
No.
There is BVOD.
Yep.
You can also buy content across our publishing assets. There is short form. I mean, short form's like this forgotten medium at the moment. Like, I mean, I even forget about it sometimes where I'm like, we're time poor, but we consume a lot on TikTok or
Give me the highlights, give me the
highlights
updates.
reel.
Yeah.
And bits and pieces. So there are so many ways in, but it's a really sticky connection with an audience.
Correct. What do you mean by
That's
that?
important. What I mean is it's almost like if you're reading a magazine, you've made a choice to go and purchase that magazine and sit there and read it. Like sport, you're going to watch the game that you love, that you have passion for. Like the fans are crazy when it comes to sport. They bring in their whole family. I mean, just go to a game and watch the jerseys and the feeling. Like people cry.
Yeah.
when their team wins.
Yeah.
Like, it
Or
blows my
loses.
mind.
Yeah.
Or loses,
Yeah, yeah.
or actually loses.
Well, one of the things I've noticed, even just moving down to Sydney, is we live pretty close to Moore Park, Sydney Swans territory. I've never been into AFL, obviously, from Queensland before, but the herds of people that come out there wearing all the colours
Yeah.
is like no other. Yeah.
It's crazy. And I even get suckered into merch when I'm at a game.
Yeah.
I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm a massive fan of like the Wallabies.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm never going to wear that green and gold
I mean, even down at
scarf
the
ever
AO,
again.
I was cold and I almost went to the Ralph Lauren thing and bought a $50
At
jumper.
the AO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
But we got suckered in,
Yeah,
didn't we? In the
literally.
moment,
Yeah.
in the passion.
The hats, I wore my AO hat the other day to the
Yeah.
beach.
But I think, like, when you talk about sport, we work with a lot of emerging brands, right? And we said, get in sport at the grassroots level, sponsor sport clubs, whatever it needs to be, sponsor teams,
Community.
like kids sport. And now what we're talking about is brands that can afford to buy into big partnerships, either across TV or digital video or some content platforms, right? I think sport needs to be part of a strategy at some point of a brand's lifespan.
Absolutely. And there are some brands that are so primed to use sport as their biggest anchor and communication tool. And whichever sport that is, whatever platform
Yep.
that is, there is a real opportunity for certain brands that it makes sense for.
We had on another previous episode, we had Caitlin from SwiftX come
Yes.
on and talk about the partnership that they're doing a lot with sport as well, right? And really trying to get in with the audience from the consumer sport. And I asked her things like, how do you measure it and how do you prove back? Because it's a big investment, right? So how do you prove back to an emerging brand like that, their directors? How would you kind of tackle that question with brands on the measurement aspect?
So on a partnership like a SwiftX one, like rugby, I'm assuming she was talking
Yes.
to you about their rugby partnership, which I've also heard is going really well.
Mm.
We would do a study alongside that.
Okay.
So we would use a third party, and pending what they wanted from a research point of view, we would use different platforms to do that.
Correct.
But I think that they will know better than anyone else because they'll see direct website spikes, they'll see sales increase, they'll see their own consideration measurements happen. So I do think that if you are going to dip into an area like sport and do it with a publisher on a bigger scale, you need to be asking your publisher to support that in the same process, to put money into backing what the results were.
And speaking about sport, I think it'd be remiss not to talk about what's upcoming for you guys, especially being the host city and the host broadcaster.
Yep.
2032, I know we're not allowed to talk about or not supposed to mention a lot about this at the moment, but I want to. Anyway, what
why we
should
started this
brand...
podcast, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah, I
to
feel like
get
there's
the
something
core
I
of
don't
it.
know that you're not allowed to talk about, but keep
I know,
going.
it does feel a bit like
it feels
taboo.
like
Like-
it's not taboo.
Every,
Yeah,
well,
it's
every,
coming.
every time I ask someone about the Olympics, it's like, oh, I don't know, don't know yet. I don't know, like, are brands, should they be preparing for the Olympics coming up there? What is your advice to brands, especially in Brisbane and Queensland? Like, we're going to have the Olympics with us, right? So how do they navigate leading up to it and during?
You know what? It's only 6 years away.
Mm.
And we talk about the golden road to 32. I mean, you can't not talk about the Olympics if you live in Brisbane because we're so proud right now.
It's every second
It's
topic.
every second topic. It's every presentation. I mean, I will definitely drop in that we are the broadcaster of Brisbane 32. I think there are some brands that are starting to play on the edges, and they're going to be the ones that are really interesting to watch. They're looking at athletes right now, youth, obviously.
Yeah,
6
yeah.
years is a long way. It feels like a long way away, but it's actually not. Like, they will be all training right now so hard
Absolutely.
to make it through to the games. So I think that for the right brands and to find a way in, like, that's just a smart way that someone's found.
Start aligning these.
Start aligning with the moments. I'm sure that there is a stadium being built.
Oh, will
I'm
it be built?
assuming that there'll be a lot of brands at the moment trying to work out how they own that stadium
Yeah.
and whether they can.
What were the learnings from, I think we are talking about it before the podcast, but the learnings from Paris?
Paris was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what a games.
Yeah.
I mean, I was glued. That opening ceremony
Yeah.
was phenomenal. I think the biggest
Celine,
learning
are you talking about
was...
Celine?
Pardon?
Are you talking about Celine Dion?
Talking about all
Or
of
Gaga.
Gaga.
Had a little,
Gaga was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, all cool.
I think the biggest learning was the way people consumed was so different. And, every competitor we had in market when we went to market with the games, the Paris games, were like they would have said to you if you were looking at it,
Mm,
oh, the time zone's average,
it's too
no
hard.
one's going to be watching, it's all too hard, like avoid it, buy us instead. But that's actually not the truth
Yeah.
because the way we structured the games with the minis that you could watch, you could learn more about
Mm.
sports. Like they went crazy. I've never watched so many sports that I was unaware
Yeah.
aware of on Nine Now, to catch up. The fact that you could go on any of our digital platforms, whether it be the SMH, the
Mm.
Age, AFR, through Whitewater Sports Online, 9.com, Brisbane Times, and you could catch up on everything that happened overnight. It's just the way people are consuming is different.
Yes.
Like we just don't have as much time to be sitting there and watching 8 hours
No.
of an Olympics
Well, they're
broadcast.
selecting the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Selecting the highlights, but also choosing when to watch the catch ups and what catch ups they want to actually watch.
That's right. So
Mm.
I think it was a bit of a pivotal moment also for us as a broadcaster that is
Mm.
choosing how we create our content, how we package it, where it sits within our ecosystem to really look at how consumers are engaging because
Yeah.
the games for Paris was very different.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, circling back to, how marketers work with networks, how has things changed from, when you were first in TV, for example, to kind of what's happening now?
Okay, so over 20 years ago when I first started in media and started in TV, there wasn't as much choice. That's as
Mm.
simple as it was. You know, you had your 3 networks that you would buy.
Yep.
You had your radio or your audio outdoor. You had your newspapers.
Yep.
Like there actually wasn't. So it meant that if you wanted to reach an audience really quickly, you were buying TV.
Yeah.
There weren't as many premium campaigns, I would say. Sponsorship and premium wasn't as much of a focus back then
Yeah.
because you just bought tonnage of tarps.
Yep.
And then you fast forward through to today, there is so much choice.
Yeah.
I mean, for an ad agency, when you're sitting there doing a plan, I hate to think how long it takes you to work
Takes
out
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where your money's going,
Yeah.
how it goes there, and why.
And how to measure it as well. I think we were talking at a recent event that we held in Sydney that it's so fragmented now that marketing funnel is dead
That's exactly
and that
right.
people have choices across so many different platforms.
Yeah. There's some comfort in proven media,
Yeah.
and every bit of research will show you that TV delivers the results
Yeah.
that you need, and that you want and desire,
Mm.
and gives you an ROI, an effectiveness measure. So I think there is comfort in going back to proven media.
Correct. That's what we do a lot at TFM is foundations, right?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about it. All these people that are out there talking about MMMs and all this kind of higher up stuff. It's like, get your foundations right before you can do that. Like, we, as I said, Matt was referring to a breakfast we did around local area marketing and how to get that right before you start going up and doing the bigger brand stuff.
Yep.
The
The
nails
basics are right. Because I think the challenge is a lot of marketers and CMOs get really confused with all the shiny objects and what's new and what's trending. And,
Yeah.
at TFM, for example, every week we have a new publisher or supplier coming in presenting to our team on what's happening in their world. So it is also exhausting for the team who are planning
Massively.
campaigns.
And they've got to be experts on all of that.
Mm.
Like, it's almost like a university degree now.
Literally.
It's actually crazy the amount of publishers there are. I think the consolidation of that needs to be more of a focus. And I
But we're
think
seeing a lot of that at the moment, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. For us, someone can come in one way and access a suite of product, and our ideas will put the client at the center of that, and then chase the audience wherever it is. And now that's an advantage to us, and an advantage to any agency or
Yeah.
client that
Correct.
engages us, because we do save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Correct. Let's talk about, again, going back to, I guess, video in particular. We call it screens now, right? So looking at screens across linear, streaming, so connected TV. Content is a massive part of this. We talked about sport, but just content in general.
Yeah.
I go to your upfronts every year and we watch about an hour and a half's worth of the content that's coming up. It must be such a big investment into content, but I guess, as you said, it's the DNA of what the brand is, right? Talk to me a little bit about how that process works and selecting content or building out sort of the content slate.
Okay, I'm definitely not a programmer, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to answer that question. What I can tell you about content, though, which you're going to have to cut a lot of this out before we get to the point,
That's fine.
is if you think about our ecosystem, and now we are a free-to-air linear product. We have 9 Now product, live and on demand, and then we have Stan and HBO Max within the ecosystem. You might have seen recently that we have taken to move audience around our ecosystem and grow our audiences and grow our subscriptions as well, because that's a really important part of our business. Is Stan launched Hunting Wives last year. You probably haven't watched that, but as a
No.
female and any other females
Anyone listening probably watches it.
listening probably has. That launched last year, absolutely went gangbusters for Stan. It has been sitting there as a back catalogue, stacked, ready for people to catch up. That now has been shifted to be on air with Nine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And why they've done that is as a subscription driver back to
Yes.
Stan. So constantly keeping that audience moving around through content, and content we own, we
Yeah.
have. And
They
that
did the
includes
same thing with Love Island, didn't they? Where they
Love
launched
Island
it
is
on.
another example.
Yeah.
Most recently, Maths after the dinner party. So that is only available on Stan.
Yep.
It was, and I've got to get this right, it was the highest subscription driver in a 24-hour
Wow.
period
Wow.
on its launch episode.
I mean, Maths is a
People
juggernaut
are
that keeps
hungry
giving.
for that drama.
That's
I
exactly.
actually watched Mass last night. Did you? Yeah.
Oh.
In the
What
background. I don't remember. Bit of
I
drama.
did actually talk to Adrian Swift, who is the producer, and he said that he had just watched the biggest and best dinner party episode
Wow.
we had ever seen.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's the last one, he
Oh my
said.
God, that show just keeps giving and giving.
It's like every year it's like the biggest ever.
Because I know.
Look how.
Yes, I know. It's like the block.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
every year, it's the biggest.
I've always
block.
wanted to be on the block.
Oh,
I reckon you could audition.
Yeah. Taylor, can you imagine us on the block?
Yeah, I'd love
You
that.
know, did you know, just sidebar, did you know that we actually made it onto Family Food Fight one time and they were like, can you be in Melbourne tomorrow and like start filming? I was like, I have like a full-time job.
That was at
Yeah,
Aquaman
that does
full-time
sound
jobs.
nice.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I want to actually talk about, again, in your ecosystem, you've got 1 billion channels now, right? So let's talk about team leadership, which is something I always ask every guest, right? Your team has how many people in it now?
36.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you manage 36 people? How do you lead 36 people?
Oh, very good question.
Yeah.
I'm completely obsessed by our team.
Yeah.
I want to know how they're feeling, what they're doing. Are there any barriers? How can I help them? I'm constantly in the office. I'm highly visible. I'm walking around. I'm probably distracting them all day. Like, I want to know what they're buying because they do occasionally
Yeah.
shop online. I think empathy and always being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes has probably made me a better leader.
Yes.
I also surround myself with very good people. It takes a village.
Yeah.
It's not one individual. One individual just helps keep the bus
Yeah.
driving in the right direction. But ultimately, our success, our culture, how the team thrives is all because of those 36 people,
Yeah.
not because of me.
And I know that one of your biggest values for your team is culture. We talked about this before, haven't we? And making sure that they are almost like a big group of friends there, but are there to work, similar to what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important. And yeah, you guys do have a similar culture
Yeah.
where, you know what, we spend so much time together.
Correct.
You don't want anyone coming into work and not wanting to be there.
Yeah.
One, it infects an entire team really quickly. But two, that's a really sad state to be. I want to make sure people are coming in, they're learning, they're growing, they're developing, they enjoy the people they work around, that we are almost like, and it sounds really cliche, like we are one big family. But that is really important to me.
I agree with that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've done at TFM, right? I think one of the challenges, we were talking about the other day, Taylor and myself, around, we've had some really fast growth, being, Fast 100 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Hopefully somewhere up in the culture awards for AFR as well. We've been trying to balance this fast growth with the culture. How do you navigate, I guess, challenging sales targets while maintaining a high performing culture?
Yeah, it's difficult because it's hard to not just be in there and be all about the number and the bottom line. That's really important.
Yeah.
But that bottom line will not shift if you haven't got the right people in the right roles, feeling like they're motivated.
Yeah.
It just won't. So I always lean to that side, knowing that this will be a measurement of what happens with the team and the people within it. I think that you have to be really quick to identify when someone is struggling or isn't cut out, and it's okay. Like, not everyone's cut out
Yeah.
to do every role,
Gotcha.
but there might be, and I suppose the beauty of being such a large organization is we have many opportunities to move people around within. So we're really big on like use our business to build your own brand.
Yeah, very
It's
important.
very important.
Yeah, it's something that we've been trying to push at TFM as well is, building up all of the team's personal profiles on LinkedIn, profiling them in PR releases and things like that as well.
Yeah. And pushing people out of their comfort zones. We all get comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one, right? I think it's trying to get people out of that comfort zone. If you're not in the discomfort, you're not learning.
Exactly.
I want to talk about sales and marketing. It goes hand in hand, right? I know for the way that we work with publishers, not just Nine, but all publishers, it's not just a transactional relationship. We're constantly doing things to build the culture together as much as you guys build a culture in between. I know from a Nine perspective, you guys spend so much on your hospitality and your events and that kind of stuff. Is that a proven strategy that works well year in year? I know it continues to grow, but I'm keen to understand how that plays into your overall sort of sales strategy.
I think, and locally we also do stuff that's really different from the big upfronts or big events that you see. I do think it does. I think having our team and giving them different reasons and ways of having the same conversation. If you think about someone that works in TV and they're selling at the moment maths, NRL, Today Show, Nine Galaxy, whatever it is that they're selling right now, you can only have that conversation that way so many times. So finding moments, whether that be an event, whether that be an activation, is really important to give them just a different way to show up and talk about your brand or your product, its features and benefits, or how someone can use it. I think is really important. I think, and it could be a Brisbane thing, having a relationship that is outside the boardroom is so valuable.
Yeah, 100%.
The amount of times I can pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I found this, I've got this, could you help me with X? Or if there's a problem, I can text you and say, like, how much of our stuff do we do over text?
Text, right? Yeah.
Probably like horrifically incorrect spelling, inappropriate. Like there's probably a long list of, if it was someone I didn't have a relationship with, that would make that really difficult. So I do think all those ways of expanding and talking about our brand and doing things differently is really important. Our upfronts is like the jewel in the crown. It's the one thing that everyone looks forward to being at.
If they don't get an invite.
If you don't get an invite, like you literally have people saying, can I get on the list? Can I get on the list? It's
everyone's best friend
event.
and then the worst friend when you can't do it right.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important because you all hear it at once. You hear it from the most senior members of our team who have immense passion for what we do and come with credentials that are superior. So I do think investing in those areas is really important.
Yeah. It's something we're seeing more and more is the activation space and even the brand collabs, right? Like I've got a dream of taking over a cafe at Bondi one day and showing how local area marketing works to that degree. But, even we were profiling like LSKD this morning on a different episode and talking about how they built partnerships with just gyms around their stores.
Yeah.
That collaboration, I think, is the next stage of where we're seeing all this media and marketing investment go.
Absolutely.
I think one thing that you guys do really well is if a team are stuck in a pickle or they've got some kind of, difficult question that they need to answer, they know they can pick up the phone and call you guys and you guys would jump to it and help them. So
that's so good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
They make me proud. I learn something new from them every single day. And they're a great bunch.
That's amazing. So Taylor's mentioning sales and marketing, how they go hand in hand, but I want to talk to you something a bit tactical. So I've got a bit of a scenario for you. And you have to spend all the money that I'm going to give you, which I know that
some live briefs. Here we go.
I feel like you won't have any.
Just to have the conversation with us. I didn't think we were going to do it like right on the spot.
Well, I think you will have no trouble spending the money. Trust me. So you've got a Brisbane restaurant. It's generally really, really good food. They've been open for 2 years. Strong local following, but not crazy busy. They want to be booked out every weekend and have $100,000 to spend. Where are you spending it?
Okay, so I think they definitely need to look at some direct mail. That's where I would start first. I'm assuming they've got their own database.
Hopefully.
Are we assuming? Can we make assumptions
let's
in
make
this? Let's make
assumptions.
assumptions. I'm assuming they've been data capturing like any good business would.
Yep.
And they have a database that they can market to. That's exactly where I would start putting
Building up
offer
the
in.
first party.
Yep, first party data.
Yeah.
Big tick.
We love
Done.
that tick.
Secondly, I would actually probably look at audio. Some strong directional offer-based pushes in a local market.
Yep.
I would definitely look at some postcode targeting through a video asset, i.e. 9Now,
Mm.
Stan, and HBO Max would probably be my recommendations.
Not biased at all.
How much? And I would definitely look at outdoor,
Yeah.
especially like I'm assuming they're based in the city. Did we say that?
Yep.
Yep. So maybe some in-office, I don't know,
Office tower.
office tower marketing, some directional marketing around where they are. I think I've blown more than
Yeah,
100
you-
grand.
I know. Well, we can go back to the CFO and get some more money,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
reckon. But it's a
And talk about it's an investment,
approach.
not a cost to the business.
correct. I mean, it is, and you'll see the ROI.
I was going to ask a question around over your sort of, is it 10 years at 9? Can we celebrate that today? Is that
I think I'm 10 years next week,
next week?
Oh,
Okay,
that's
that's amazing.
or 10 years back at 9.
Okay, well, congratulations getting some long service leave.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
Finally.
What I've seen over my last 5 years of just TFM, and it's a trend we're seeing in the industry, is people flip-flopping between in-housing teams to going back out to agencies again. Like, what are you seeing from your angle? Obviously, you still, at the end of the day, work with the client in some capacity. Have you seen that trend at all, or is that, well, how do you navigate that?
So I have seen some amazing brands in-house really well. I have seen some brands that have tried in-housing, but it's just too much
Yeah.
to take on, where they've thought they're going in that direction and then they've gone, hold on, we don't have the capabilities, we don't have everything, the infrastructure built around us to do that. So then they've needed the support.
Yeah.
I am seeing some brands now taking control back on some of, especially digital.
Yeah.
Has been a really big shifter in the last 12 months. A lot of conversations coming up, and I think that's where they want to build their own data
Yes.
product and pool, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But they still need support and help and advice from experts. Specialism cannot be underrated.
No. And we just talked about how busy and fragmented everything is now. Trying to build a team, and like what I've seen a number of times is, we're building out a marketing team. One marketing manager has to wear every single hat in the business. Media buyer, planner, board report writer, like social media manager.
It's too
And
much.
it's just too much.
Way
Yeah.
too much.
I was speaking to someone this morning actually at one of our events, and they were just like, "I'm just so overwhelmed with the amount of work and the lack of support
Yeah.
in their business."
And like obviously disregarding the ones who are doing it well, but the ones who do in-house, it's a lot more work for your team in today, right? Like you're almost having to hold their hand the whole way through.
Whole way through.
Yeah.
Which for a brand like ours is probably a little bit easier because we have multiple platforms. So you can look at full funnel strategies and executions. If you were a publisher that only had 1 or 2 brands within there to work with, it would be a huge amount of work because you're trying to demonstrate that your product can answer
100%.
like 100 different variables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that a lot of businesses have gone through where they've either restructured their marketing teams or their sales teams or their agency teams, and everyone is trying to do everything all at once, but you can't be a jack of all trades.
Correct.
Not when you're getting deep into detail. You need to have the right people that know how to have the right conversations.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to get messy.
And that's my next point for you my next question for you, sorry, was the talent in market at the moment. I know we're finding it super hard. The industry's finding it hard at the moment. Why do you think, like, is it lucrative as it used to be? Like, it used to be a really fun place to work and be. I feel like it's just becoming harder to find people.
We have the same problem.
Yeah.
And especially at that mid-level, I'm finding like that's the same conversation. Everyone's got roles open. They're looking for people. And it feels like this relentless, like, kind of merry-go-round that
How do we fix it?
and we're all looking for the same people.
Yeah.
I think if I look at those that have left the industry, haven't necessarily gone to publishers or agency side, they've actually left the industry completely. And I think that's where our problem is.
We've had one recently leave to just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one the other day that went to be a Jillaroo.
What is a
Like
Chillaroo?
Chillaroo, like working out on a farm, a property in
That
North
sounds fun.
Queensland. That would be hard.
Yeah.
work.
I mean, from working in like sales to that. that'd be
Sales to
very hard.
that. But I think that there is definitely this prestige and shininess about working in our industry. But there's pressure around resourcing. We're expecting everyone to do a lot more with a lot less.
Yes.
Maybe we're just going through a cycle of just burnout.
Yeah.
I think it's the recalibrating, which is kind of leading me perfectly to a next question around AI. It's rewriting how people find, buy, and consume content. Does that terrify you or excite you?
I think initially it was terrifying,
Mm,
but now that we're playing around and investigating different
mm,
platforms and how AI can help our business grow,
Mm.
not to not grow,
yeah.
to make it better, to make it easier so we can focus on the stuff that really matters, I think it's super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I think you can take it too far.
Mm.
So there's going to be a fine balance in how and where AI is used.
What about are you seeing any clients send you creative for your assets that are AI
We just had one
generated?
yesterday.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Listen, it wasn't bad. I'm not going to lie. Like it was,
Could you tell, or you had to?
yeah, you could.
Yeah.
But it was a first cut. It was done in like less than an hour.
That's crazy.
The cost would have been like
Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to say no, like, guys, we can't run this, or you just?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think there's also some stuff like maybe it's not producing full TVCs that are broadcast
Mm.
quality through AI,
Correct.
but maybe we are storyboarding with our AI to pitch ideas. Maybe we're using it as a tool for visualization versus just making a whole TVC with.
Yeah.
Because you can't. There's some. I know it's getting better and better though. Like in 3 years, we might sit here and have the same conversation, and it will be a completely different one.
Yeah.
100%. We had a client recently that we just spoke to around pitching for their work, and they were showing us some of their organic content, and it was like a testimonial from someone, but it was actually all AI, and
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference of it until you showed me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you kind of can because it's a little bit slow, but like people are leaning into it. And I think you have to lean into it. If you don't, we're going to be left behind.
Absolutely.
But I
but it's
just think people spend too much time trying to perfect the AI at the
I agree.
moment. And then, for me and the way that we run this business is performance over perfection, right? And I think people are stuck in the other way around and just trying to get the most perfect creative for the cheapest dollar. And you're spending all this money on placements and that sort of stuff, but it's just not going to work.
No, and I think everyone should be curious.
Yes.
Like if there's anything that we could all do is just lean in. Don't shy away from it.
No.
Just test it.
Yeah.
Learn from it. There'll be stuff that you like and you don't like, but if it gives you more hours back in the day to look at
100%.
different things you can do with that time.
Yeah, spend more time on TikTok, right?
I would. That's more hours on TikTok for me.
Yeah, literally.
Like even we were talking internally today around like is the 60-page PowerPoint dead?
Oh, yeah.
Like like the amount of time, and you'd know this, that
Yeah.
goes into building a PowerPoint deck, moving around boxes, changing fonts, like what's going to fill the slides. No one has time to sit there or the attention span for a 60-minute, let's say you spend 1
Mm.
minute per page, PowerPoint. Why are we doing it to ourselves?
Mm.
Well, it's like we did the event this morning and we wrapped up the entire thing in a 15-second reel.
Amazing.
I was like, there you go. There's the wrap up, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still need the context and then wrap it
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think there is an opportunity to nip that in the bud and just like get straight to the
Yeah.
pointy ends.
Like we're using a bit of AI. Like the whole team uses obviously Gemini at the moment, and they can literally grab a deck, put it in there.
Mm.
What are the top 3 things I need to know about this? How can I be more influential in my response? What do you see that I won't see?
We're using AI quite heavily in our business, especially around like meeting recordings. Even the team asking for feedback on how they went on that presentation or in that
Yep.
that whip. What are the 3 things I can improve on? What are the things I did well? And I think people are just having more insight, have the ability to get that self-reflection without it coming from a direct leader. You know what I mean? Like they can actually seek it themselves and be curious to learn from.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if I want to hear feedback from
Well, I feel
an
like
agent
On how it's
versus my
going.
boss.
Yeah.
so I use it all the time when I'm pitching to clients, and I do it from a sales aspect of it because I'm like, what can I be doing better? And it's not coming from Taylor because I'm often
Yeah.
to get my ego out and go, oh, hold on a second, I thought I did a really good job. It's like literally coming from a AI agent that's telling me that, hey, you did a pretty good job, but if you did X, Y, and Z, it would have been a
Yeah.
better outcome.
It's amazing.
One of the biggest assets that you guys have at Nine is the talent pool that you have there, right?
Huge.
I've done a little bit of stuff working with you and other networks and working with the talent, which can be really powerful because it builds the trust and credibility, right? What are some of the learnings of any brands that want to start working or aligning themselves with some talent?
I think like we all get really excited when talent or a brand is involved, like one of
Mm.
our brands. And I think that trying to remain as organic as possible in that and not becoming that really forced fit, like where you have to mention a brand 20 times or it becomes
Holding it up.
advertorial, like hold up, like here's my sign. Remembering they are humans that everyone sees on a daily basis and to then try and use them in your tone and feel can come across as forced if you don't do it the right way. So really taking the advice of the network and the talent agent is really important. So it doesn't become a 4-minute advertorial on that you could be
So
running.
making it more, I guess, the right fit for the right brand with the right talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories of when it's gone wrong?
Oh my God, this.
And you have to mention the brand. It can be
Um,
this category.
Listen, there's definitely been some very touchy conversations with clients where it's what they're asking or what they're wanting is just pushing it too far, where it just seems so far out of the realm that this person would behave or talk like that.
Yes.
That's where it gets a bit.
There's no alignment there.
There's no alignment.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It's not the reason you want to use them or want to pay to use them.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there's good ways of using talent, and there's also you don't have to. Or it doesn't have to be someone that's a big brand name either.
No.
There are plenty of influencers.
Well, that's what we're seeing, especially in our space, is creators, right? We don't
Or creators, yeah.
I don't know, for some reason we've now switched from calling them influencers to creators and everyone's kind of just gone past that. So we'll unpack that later. But yeah, I think using creators and using their platform, the way they style, their way they video, the way they talk is such a powerful thing at the moment. It is kind of the old talent strategy, but just in a smaller form.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming on today and sharing your insights across your entire sort of media career, right? Like it's pretty extensive in terms of the places that you've worked, but also the teams that you've run and the channels that you've been a part of. So for anyone listening, where can they find you?
My email, which I'm sure that you can share with anyone,
in the show
LinkedIn,
notes.
Instagram, Facebook. I think that's about all I have.
She's everywhere.
I'm everywhere.
You're basically talent.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Beck.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
Awesome.